Yes, yes. Let's clap it up for the men of the hour.
Let's go. Give it up. Give it up.
Thank you for joining us. All right. Hello, Jeezy. I'm Miss Dawn. I am the host. And we have the fabulous moderator for you. Happy grab a seat right there. Okay, we got the amazing Jeezy in the house. We know you had a long night. How was Jacksonville? Oh.
Should know how to do that. I'm sorry. New Orleans, y'all make some noise. Everybody from out of town, y'all make some noise. Yes, sir. We here. We here. Yeah. Yes.
I'm going to say a few words about you real quick.
Okay.
I'm going to pass it over and let you guys introduce, okay? So, everybody excited? The man of the hour is here. We got Jeezy Jenkins. He is a Grammy-nominated, multi-platinum recording artist, a businessman, entrepreneur, and a philanthropist. His debut book titled Adversity for Sale is available for pre-order now at bookshop.org. And a portion of the proceeds will benefit the Boys and Girls Club. I mentioned to you all earlier, you have your QR codes. Go ahead and purchase the book. And our book tags will be signed for purchase books only at this time. Immediately following the chat, we will have everyone who has the tag that have purchased a book to exit and come around so that we can create the signing line so we don't have any tension. But everyone must exit this area after the chat. Kabi? We're good?
Got it.
Thank you.
What she said.
Yes. Well, yeah, brother, we are blessed to have you, and I am super excited. Yes. All right, so let's get into it. So the first part of your book takes the reader into the genesis of who you are. Giving us insight into your upbringing. And the first thing I was like was, you went to the youth challenge program, right? When I was a teacher, I graduated so many of my boys from there and served as their required mentor. You not only met your homeboy Kinky beat up, but you also learned two valuable lessons. One, you have to take time to reset, especially when you're stressed. And two, success comes from discipline, dedication, persistence, and commitment.
For sure.
Can you talk about the importance of those two rules in your life then and now?
Well, the first thing is the reset thing is, for the longest time, I was just a product of my environment, right? So everything from hustling to, alcoholism to everything that go on in the everyday life, I had no break from it. So when I was told to go to Youth Challenge, which I don't know if y'all know, it's like a boot camp. So you go there and it's like a military-based boot camp. And you gotta get up at 5. Ain't nobody ever told me in my life I gotta get up at 5 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? You gotta do push-ups. I'm like, I ain't doing no push-ups. You gotta do jumping jacks. You gotta make your bed, all these different things. But it took me out of my element for long enough for me to understand that a lot of things in my element wasn't the way they were supposed to be. They didn't have structure. So this was like a awakening, because now it's just like I'm learning these responsibilities and I'm taking care of myself, and I got time and space to actually see that I can do things differently, right? And I can go about it differently. And that's what it meant to me, because when you're there, it's you ain't got that support system. You ain't got your homeboys, y'all ain't smoking blunts, y'all ain't stepping on the corner, y'all ain't, you know what I mean? You gotta get with it. And it taught me to reset. And even when I went back home, I started to realize how much I had grown, because a lot of the things that used to be cool, I just couldn't do them no more.
Word.
Yeah.
Okay. And speaking of hustling, after hustling for a little while and dealing with some ups and downs, the ups and downs of what comes with that, you lost a pretty substantial bag dealing with a family member. And you found yourself in the studio having to make a big decision about who you wanted to be. I had a similar situation happen to me on a much smaller scale.
I want to make sure what situation you're talking about.
With the cousin that kind of had set you up when you went on that plane.
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. And
I don't think he's gonna be too happy when the book comes out. He probably gonna feel like I should have forgot about that shit. But the craziest thing it is though, he was my idol.
Yeah.
He was somebody I respected, so I would have done anything for him.
Absolutely, yeah.
So for me to finally get in a position that I can take him, shout out to my sister right here, my little sister. know what I'm saying? Mr. Tony Johnson Jenkins. For me to finally get in a position, and I'm gonna tell you the correlation to that. For me to finally get in a position to take care of myself, and this is somebody that I idolize, and for him to trick me and take mine, that was the first time I ever been, it was unbelievable, right? Because it's just like, I got so much respect and admiration for you, and you would do this to me. And now I can't even hurt you because you're my family.
Absolutely.
Right? So it taught me the biggest thing about loyalty. But let me take it back a little bit. My sister said right here, and what I realized about loyalty, because that's my cousin. You're supposed to be loyal to your little cousin. This is my little sister. I had an incident happen with my little sister where she was, holding something for me in the attic, and her ex-husband, over time was going in the attic and in my safe and taking my money. And when I went back to go get it because I needed it, it wasn't there. And you know me, I wanna put him to sleep.
Yeah. For sure.
And before I could put him to sleep, and this is what taught me about loyalty. She said, "Don't even worry about it, bro. I'm divorcing him tomorrow." And I was just like, yo, y'all get up, my sister. That was the yin and the yang of loyalty for me, right? And it taught me so much. It instilled something in me. I'm a Libra, so I'm loyal by default. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the Libras. And sometimes, loyalty can get you in trouble. But I lean more on the loyalty because at the end of the day, I want people to always know that I'm gonna do what I say, and if you need me, I'm gonna be there, right? And that's all that really matters. And the thing about it is, half of who I became was because of him. Because I was a good-hearted kid. He turned me into a thug, and all I wanted was love from this nigga. You know what I'm saying? All I wanted him to do was love me back and show me like, I'm proud of you, man, because this is my idol. Right.
Hey, you took that right where I wanted you to go, brother.
Okay. You're doing good, dude.
All right, and as the world knows, you've transitioned into quite the businessman.
Is that right?
Yes, sir. And your book showcases that.
Okay.
And oftentimes you learn on the ideas and themes that you presented in your books, you got that from the streets.
For sure.
And yet, when you really cut out the trapping and the shooting it out for your respect, you talked about how it made you spiral into a depression.
Yes.
Can you talk about that experience and why you wanted to share that transparency in your book?
Okay, well, first of all, anytime that you're able to help people achieve what they're trying to achieve, whether it be financial, whether it be spiritual or whatever, you become in a position of leadership. You know what I mean? So I was a natural born leader. And what I was doing, I was leading people to where I thought we should go, right?
Yeah.
So that was my strength, that was my power, right? And when I decided to do something else, which was try to clean up my act, a lot of those people start going to the wayside, right? And then you're not dealing with college students, so you're dealing with real live gang members, and you know what I mean? So, when they flip on you, it's different. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like your homeboys flipping on these people who do what they do in real life. You know what I'm saying? So I had maybe 20, 30 people living in my house. It was from my neighborhood. And stuff would come up missing, my jewelry, my clothes, and this and that. And, when you confronting somebody that you just with, he just shot somebody at the club, that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But he's staying in your house, right? Upstairs in the other room. So it was just so many times that I was just running into these situations, and I'm like, damn, if I grow and they go, how am I gonna be in the world? Because this is all I know. Yeah. I didn't have any quality friends. I didn't have any mentors. I didn't have anybody that I could have conversations with, right? And these are the only people, this is my support system. This is why I am who I am, right? So if they go there, who am I? So I just dealt with a lot of that. It was the hardest decision I ever made in my life. It took me a lot of time. I went through a real dark stage of my life where I was, because naturally my mom drinks, so I was drinking. And then I started mixing the wine with the brown liquor, the liquor with the you know what I'm saying? So I'm going out and I'm not in my right mind, but I'm leading people. And it just came up one day, I was just sitting there, and you wouldn't believe it, it wasn't up until, I'm sold millions of records. It wasn't up until the recession, well, two things. It wasn't up until the recession that I realized that I wasn't going to prison, because the whole time I was doing music, from trap or die all the way up until recession.
Yeah.
I just knew I was going to jail. I was prepared for it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, 1,000%. Like I was prepared to go to jail because I'm like, everybody's around me getting indicted. It's gonna happen. They're gonna knock on my door. I lost so much weight just stressing. And when it got to that point on the recession and I looked around and I didn't have anybody around, I had to focus on myself. So I put all my cars, all my jewelry up. I started reading books. I started asking questions. I started hanging around different people. And that's how I wrote The Recession, because now I'm paying attention to what's going on around the world, because I can't talk about what's going on in the neighborhood because I'm no longer there, right? Yeah. And that opened up so many things for me. And the first person I sat down with and really explained to me was my business partner. His name is Solo. And he was just like, you ever heard of survivor's remorse? And I'm like, hell no. And he started explaining to me what it was, and he was just like, yo, you gotta understand, like, even if you became a pro ball player, you can't take all these people on the field with you when you gotta play your game. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't understand that, because where we from, you're supposed to keep it real. Right? Until you paying for everybody's lawsuits, until you paying for everybody's child support, till you know, his mama needs something, their mama needs something. I gotta look around at my family and be like, damn, my family needs stuff too. So how we gonna work this out? And the biggest part of my life where everything changed for me is I had an incident that happened in Oakland, where there was a shooting by my tour bus, and I took about 10 people on this tour on the bus, and there was a shooting. I had nothing to do with it, clearly, but they put it on me, right? And they locked all of us up that was on the bus with me and gave us all $1 million bail. So this is $10 million in the state of California. I don't have any property there, so they want the money, right? So I'm sitting in the county jail, and I'm contemplating. I'm like, okay, and by the way, they came to get me that day. But the first unselfish thing I did was not accepting getting the bail and bailing myself out, because I wanted to sit there with everybody else until I could get everybody else out, because this is on my watch. Now, that's the way I looked at it. With the people that I left back at the house and living in my crib, and they ain't answering the phone for my baby mama, they ain't making sure my kids straight, they ain't doing nothing for me. So I'm sitting in the county jail trying to hold it down, and I got 15, 20 people in my house that ain't even made a move. And when I finally got out of jail, I was so depressed. I was so like, in such a bad space. I'm gonna keep it a buck, because my money was where my money was. When I got out of jail in LA County, I didn't have $10 to my name. And we was shooting a video, and I never forget, we were shooting a video in the hood, and this kid pulled up on a bike, and he had the dirtiest shoes on. And in my mind, I'm so used to having, I wanted to go in my pocket and give him something so he could buy some shoes. I ain't have $5. I ain't have $5, it's Jeezy.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? It's Jeezy. And I ain't had nobody I can call for $5.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was the moment. That's when I said, you know what? I gotta take care of me.
Word.
Yeah, that was it. That was the moment.
Yes. Give it up.
Yeah.
And speaking of money, and speaking of Jeezy,
okay.
Right? In your book you said street money is short money.
Right.
No matter how much you're bringing in, the only real question is how and when will it go wrong for you. When you think about how you leverage the difference in your level of money and other up and coming stars, like literally in the book you are paying for everything. Right? You know, like, did that ever play in the back of your mind while you was taking care of that? Like $500,000 on video shoots that's coming out of your pocket. You know what I'm saying?
But you know, the craziest thing, and I'll tell everybody in here, you know, it's not a secret. If you look at any millionaire, anybody that you respect, at some point they invested in themselves, right? So shout out to you if you invested in yourself. You know what I mean? Shout out to you. But for me, it wasn't no other way, right? Because even if I was hustling, right, and invested in myself, I still had a chance. Right?
Yeah.
Because I know jail ain't for me. That's all I'm gonna say. That shit ain't for me. I ain't that type of guy.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? I like to eat good. I like to live good. You know what I'm saying? I can't do it. You know, and it's not saying that if it went down, I wouldn't. But that ain't what I saw for myself. And one thing I love is shout out to Master P, Shout out to Cash Money, shout out to Tupac, shout out to all those guys. That's how I learned. I learned through music. I listened, I learned, I took notes. Those were my mentors at the time because I had and that's why I love Tupac so much.
Yes,
because
yes.
he had moral values, he had a moral compass, he stood for something, he knew what he was doing, and he believed in his movement. Mind you, I had uncles around, no disrespect, they didn't have no values, right? They didn't have any morals, so they couldn't give that to me. So I learned through the music, and what I realized was, damn, I like this.
Yeah,
like this is what's up. And then I would hear stuff, you know, around that time when I was trying to figure it out, and I was like, that don't sound right. I know what I paid for a brick. That ain't making sense to me, right? Yeah. So then I just wanted to speak the truth, and in the beginning it wasn't a good idea because it was almost like I was dry snitching, but it's the only thing I knew. I'm not a carpenter, I can't fix roofs, I'm not a mechanic, so it was the streets. And I learned that it was the one thing that I could do and still be myself and not get lost in it, right? And still believe. Yeah. And because I believed in them. Yeah. So when it came to investing in it, it was like the only thing that made sense. You know what I'm saying? And those guys, to me, were the guys who were saying, you know, 2 Rolexes. And I'm gonna be honest, I had 2 Rolexes at 21. You know what I mean? I had the bubble line Lexus, black and white one. You know what I'm saying?
Talk about
but that's what I was inspired to do. But I'm like, well, shit, if I can get the cars, then I can change my life and live like them. Because my biggest goal was to buy my mother a house, right? Because me, my mother, and my sister came up in a 2-bedroom trailer. It's not bigger than this cubicle right here, right? And it was all of $3,500. I know because I paid for it, right? So I'm like, if I could get a legitimate situation, buy my mom a house and help my sister with school, that was my mindset. But as I was doing it, it took about 15 years. And the minute it started to work, I knew God was working. Yeah. Right?
Come on now.
But the devil was working in real time too. Because this is when a lot of my partners and friends and everybody started to get indicted. Right? And the funniest thing is, everybody used to come to the studio, pull up in their Ferraris and everything. And I would be like riding like regular cars because I'm saving my money to put into music. And everybody would laugh. Like it was funny. Like this nigga think he can rap. It was funny. Mind you, the minute everybody started getting indicted, the only thing that saved me from probably getting indicted was being in the studio, being out the way, and for my music career to start taking off. So mind you, I put my first album out, I paid for it by myself. I'm on pace to do almost 1.5 million records, right? And everybody around me is going to jail. So at the end of the day, I know God wanted me to be here because I could have been on that boat as well. But if I didn't invest in myself, if I didn't believe in myself, I wouldn't be sitting right here talking to y'all right now. That's 1,000%.
Let's go.
That's 1,000%.
Yeah. And speaking of the music, right, it's taking everything in me not to say I'm a T-R-A-P-S-T.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all know I skipped a letter, but that's all cool, you know what I'm saying? Y'all don't say nothing, I ain't gonna say nothing. It sound good. It was like, you might want us to now to go, you know where I'm from, we ain't tripping.
Yeah. Well, this is the last question here. So,
okay.
Yeah, you know, you talked about that in Trap Star, and you talked about being the inspiration behind trap music. Now, you know, you gave folks their flowers when needed, but you know who you are. And how you felt a bit jaded with it being considered a genre because, you know, nowadays it seems calling something trap music is just a marketing term.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I was there when you was in every trunk in America.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think what you're getting at is how the industry sometimes can get a hold of something and suck the true essence out of it.
Right. They want to box us in.
Yeah. So can you talk about how you wanted to make sure your book provided some insight on trap sports?
Well, let me say this about the music, so we all on the same page. I mean, I know everybody's here familiar with Tupac Shakur, right?
Yes.
We wouldn't just consider him a gangster rapper now, would we?
Oh, now.
He was way more. He was way more. He was ahead of his time in fashion, theater. He was a poet. He was a revolutionary. Like, he was all these things, so you can't box him in. So I don't think that's fair. I think when they're able to monetize things, it just put us over here. You know, same reason why Diddy is going through. He's going through his liquor brand right now. He tell me out his own mouth. They trying to put me in urban. That's not who we are. You know, we're global. This is worldwide. And for me, I just hope, because there's so many young cats that come from where we come from that don't understand that you can't let them box you in, right? You can't. I don't want to just be a good rapper. I want to be a good brother. I want to be a good father. I want to be a good businessman. I want to be a good mentor. I want to be all those things. So don't just put me over there and tell me I'm a genre of music because that's what you categorize me as. You know what I'm saying? You got to categorize me as just any of these guys that run a Fortune 500 company, because that's what we're doing.
Come on, man.
That's what we're doing. When you see these kids out here and they making this money, they doing what they doing. It's companies that don't make that type of money, right? It's companies that don't have that type of that many employees. And then look at I came from a place where everybody there had a factory job. You know, I got employees now. I have a team. You don't have people that I can reach out to. So how you gonna put me over there just because of the art that I make? This is my art. This is my story. This is what matters to me. This is why those pages and those books are full, because these are things that help shape my life. These are things that help shape my generational wealth. These are things that put my people in place, right? And I don't care what nobody say. I'm gonna say this right now. I ain't got no flowers, ain't nobody gave me none, but I know goddamn well when I came in the door from the streets to the music industry, I did not lock it. I left it unlocked, and everything you see right now today is a product of me sneaking in that back door and leaving it unlocked for my people. And that's real talk.
Hey, word. Give it up. Give it up. Yes. Well, thank you for sharing this space with me, brother.
Thank you guys for being here.
Yes.
Adversity for sale.
Yes. Go get that. I think August 8th, right?
August 8th.
Let's go get that. Come on now.
You can pre-order it right now, anywhere
Right now.
books are sold. And again, it's just, there's no right way to do anything. You know, if you're doing something in your life and you believe in it, just don't let nobody box you in, right? Because at the end of the day, they can't project their fears and their insecurities on you. Real talk.
All right. Well, thank you. We're gonna go ahead and end this. If we could get, you got a sister. Tell them what to do, man. Tell them what to do, man.
I brought it here, and I'm gonna take it back. We want to first thank Jeezy for blessing us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for tagging the collective curators.
For sure.
Your post, that was everything. Thank you.
Yes. Follow Black Man Reading. Come on now.